Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Zulaika binti Nizul Hisham with my PIN number 063740. I'm going to talk about the misrepresentation in Shopee advertisement, how to overcome. A misrepresentation is a false statement of substantial fact given by one party to another in order to persuade another party to engage into a contract. Misrepresentation is defined under Section 18 of the Contract Act. It is also a false statement of existing or past fact addressed to another party to the contract made by one party before or at the time of making the contract, and the maker of the statement believe what they state is true. Shopee is the one of most reputable online marketplaces in the world. In addition to supporting the purchase and sale administration of commodities, the platform reached out to the two internet networks from all over the world. In the selling and purchase the items with Shopee, there is no such thing as impossible fraud. Transaction can be complete regardless of the distance, limit, or border between two countries. A false representation was made before or at the time of contracting. Misrepresentation on Shopee platforms frequently arises when an item is advertised, as the advertisement has piqued the customer's interest. As a result of deception in the advertisement, the information given in the advertisement differs from what the buyer received when the item arrived.
Thank you, Zulaika, for a very good introduction. Now I will share the most useful tips to help you avoid the common mistakes that lead to mispresentation. First and foremost, be aware of product names which make these claims. Keep in mind that any ad information including your company or product names might be used to make claims. Even if it appears in a short pack, if your product name indicates an untested impact or advantages, this might be problematic. That is why nowadays, Shopee provided live chat to enable buyer and seller to engage in real-time conversation through in the app instant messaging. Buyers can inquire about products and even negotiate with the seller, fostering a better understanding between both buyer and seller prior to a transaction. So we go to the second tips, which is don't overestimate a product capacity or performance. Advertising is all about presenting a product in the best light possible, but don't exaggerate to the point of being misleading. However, obvious exaggerations that are unlikely to be taken literally by the typical customer and hence unlikely to mislead are permitted. As example, there is seller in Shopee that likely to claim their products based on premium materials, whereas the reality is not. Third, don't forget to provide important details. All pertinent information, including important terms and conditions of an offer, should be included in the ad. This should be expressed in close proximity to the primary assertion or clearly related to it. Significant conditions may differ based on the situation. In this situation, a buyer found that the mirror that he bought from Shopee did not give the quality as he expected. Based on the case with an O. Flanagan 1936, during the course of negotiation for the sale of medical practice, the vendor made representation to the purchaser that it was worth £2,000 a year. By the time when the contract was signed, they were untrue. The value of the practice has declined in the meantime to £250 because of the vendor's inability to attend to it through illness. Lord Wright quoted, "So again, if a statement has been made which is true at this time, but which during the course of negotiations become untrue, then the person who knows that it has become untrue is under an obligation to disclose to the other the change of circumstances. Therefore, the failure of the vendor to disclose the state of affects to the purchaser amounted to a misrepresentation. Last but not least, there is many ways to make sure all the necessary information to avoid mispresentation. In addition, I urge all of you, specifically the Shopee seller, to have integrity by providing the truth or the important needs when you promote the products to the buyer to avoid problems in future. Now, let me pass to Alia Izzati on why we need to read another customer's reviews before buying something.
Thank you to Shafika for your point. Now I will talking about another way to avoid mispresentation, which is, as a buyer, we should read the customer reviews at the comment section before we buy something. As a buyer, before we want to buy something from Shopee, we must read another customer review at the comment section. This is to make sure that whether the seller is trusted or not. In this way, we also can know whether there is a mispresentation happen between the seller and the customer. For example, I want to buy a Harry Potter novel from Shopee, and I found a seller who sell a Harry Potter novel exactly like I want. But before I buy from that seller, I read the comment section first, which is place customer leave their reviews. In the comment section, I found that some customers state that they didn't get the Harry Potter novel like the advertisement displayed, but they get a different novel instead. So in this situation, I can avoid myself from being a victim too. I will definitely not buy from the seller since I know that the seller is not trusted. In this situation, I as a buyer can avoid myself from being a victim and my money also safe. The conclusion is we as a buyer should read the review in the comment section first before we want to buy something, so that we can avoid ourselves being a victim, same like the another customers. That's all for my point. Now we will move on to Aina, who will share to us about another way to avoid mispresentation in Shopee.
Thank you, Alia, for your explanation about review to avoid misrepresentation in Shopee. Next, I would like to continue with my part, which is be a buyer who likes to give review. But first, let me explain to you guys our responsibility as a buyer. Actually, before we purchase or buy any items, we have to take cautions. For example, read all of the previous review made by previous buyer to avoid us to buy any defect items or a bad service. So actually, be a buyer who likes to give review helps both parties, which is seller and buyers. For sellers, our feedback and reviews help they to improve their product and their service. And for buyers, our review and feedbacks help other buyers to make sure that they purchase and buy a good items and a good service. So next, I would like to explain the second, which is the effect if we be a buyer who likes to give review. So if we be a buyer who likes to give review, we actually helps other buyers to make a good choices and a good decision before they purchase any items on the different website. Last but not least, this action actually helps both parties and can avoid misrepresentation in shop.
Thank you, Aina, for your point. Now, Alam Hira binti Azmi, will continue on how to overcome mispresentation in Shopee advertisement. The authorities need to make an awareness on how to avoid mispresentation from happen. From authorities, other people could do it too. How and who? So it consists from someone that have knowledge regarding mispresentation and someone that have big influence to give a big impact on our society. That could be a famous influencer on Instagram or TikTok, or a famous blogger that could create awareness, especially to our youth. As we know, you've loved to shop online through Shopee applications. Or we as a law student could use social media as platform to create awareness, for example, on YouTube advertisement that could reach many people. The content are to enhance knowledge by sharing what mispresentation is and how to prevent. For example, as customer or buyer should ask information or details of product, and one buyer should avoid seller that extravagant. This statement could be in writing or by oral, in this case on website, in emails, or in promotional materials like personal message in Shopee chat. And as seller, don't try to hide any flaws or defect on items or product. Be honest, be transparent as possible. Last but not least, don't promise what you can sell or deliver. That's how to overcome mispresentation in Shopee.
Overall, technological advances nowadays are greatly influencing the buying patterns of today's buyers, which are likely to buy online. This is because of gadgets such as smartphones that become more sophisticated nowadays, and it allows people to conveniently make purchases online. Social media is also the reason of the increasing online purchase made by consumers. Consumers typically read testimonials and customer feedback on social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram to learn more about a product or business. On the other hand, consumers must make wise decisions in which they should not rely solely on media social, but should also seek feedback and opinions from friends who have used the service or purchased from the same seller. This is because the experience of others will help streamline their decision making. It is visible that social media and the influence of friends or people around become among the factors of improvement trust in a business or products, services, or both. Therefore, marketers should always strive to ensure the items sold are the same or indistinguishable from that displayed in the advertisement to avoid confusion to the buyer. Besides, the marketers must meet the diverse and ever-changing needs of consumers to further enhance their online marketplace. This proves that not only factors such as convenience and time saving cause buyers to be interested in making a purchase online. Even current situation or trends as well cause them to be more willing to take risks to make an online purchase. Therefore, marketers need to be more aware in compiling strategies for gaining trust and giving a positive experience to the user, adjusting it according to current changes. A positive experience will encourage buyers to repeat the purchase and at the same time share the experience with their friends. Even though there are various methods for consumers to protect their interests, when confronted with deceptive offers, consumers should indeed take precautions and cautiousness when purchasing products or services online, and carry out price research. As the number of questionable businesses employing questionable tactics has increased in this day and age, online shopping platforms should also consider updating their policies regarding permitting firms to price their goods arbitrarily on their platforms. A platform like Shopee should tighten its control over these firms so that if an issue emerges, such as a misleading offer, it can be resolved swiftly and effectively from the consumers who have been harmed by such practices.